Hello, Jim.
Yeah. Hello, Laura. How are you?
I am good. Jim, I'm happy you're
Oh,
meeting with me today.
me
You're
too.
Jim Perona. Perona.
Yes.
Is this Italian?
So the Perona part is Italian. I'm Greek and Italian, and then a
Oh,
handful of other things after that. But I thank you, by the way, because the way you say it just sounds so much more interesting than the way I say it. So just Perona. You make it
Perona.
sound so
It
much
might
cooler.
be a little city in Italy somewhere. That's kind of what gave me an
Mhm.
inspiration.
So it's so interesting you say that, Laura, because my mother is the big genealogist
Okay.
in the family, like really wanting to trace everything back. So she is the Perona's from my dad's side, and she thinks we might have tracked it down to somewhere in northern Italy, a small
Oh,
town in northern Italy. But that's as much as I know at the moment.
that's
But
so
I'm so
beautiful.
curious now. Yeah, I love that
Yeah,
stuff.
one day kind of take your family and go trekking, finding the origins.
Oh yeah, yeah. We don't need many reasons. We don't need a lot of reasons to twist our arms into going to
Yeah,
Italy. That's for
no, that's
sure. So,
beautiful. So, Jim, let me introduce you formally for people who may not know you, though I know you're famous and popular with your music. So, Jim is a concert speaker, keynote concert speaker. He weave in words and music, right?
that's right.
And he is a professional guitarist, professional musician.
Mhm.
And what I didn't know until few minutes before the show here, that you also have a book to help
Yes.
aspiring speakers and musicians.
Yeah.
Yes, read the title. So if somebody wants to find it on Amazon.
Yeah. So I wrote a book called "How to Book Gigs as a Solo Musician," and then uh, the real um, the real soul of it is really in the subtitles that secure quality gigs that showcase your talent, build lasting client relationships, streamline your workflow for sustainable
Mm,
success. And those are the things that uh, just I never went to school for business or anything like that,
yeah.
or for economics or for
Mhm.
sales or anything like
Mhm.
that. And just stuff that I've learned over the past 15 years of uh, being a freelance classical guitarist for events because it's just solo entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And it's so I've come to realize now in since I've been venturing also and branching out into the speaking in the public speaking world that it's so much of what's in this book is applicable to that as well. It's all about having that mindset where you're there to serve
Mhm.
the cause, serve the event, serve those in attendance, and um, above, and that comes so far before uh, doing anything for yourself.
Mhm.
Like, and we're certainly going to speak on this, Laura, but for me, like my experience running my first marathon, I share that. The reason for me sharing that isn't to boast about running a marathon. It's here's the trials and uh, that
Mhm.
here are the obstacles that presented themselves
Mhm.
during this time, and here's why in the long term this has been helpful to me and important to me. It wasn't just about running,
Yeah.
running the 26.2 miles in the marathon. It was
Yeah.
about bigger lessons that carried with me in my life. And so circling back to the book, um,
Mhm.
that's really the
Yeah.
overall importance of everything is
Mhm.
there's there's bigger reasons than just talking yourself up or building yourself up. You
Yeah.
are there for the client, you are there for people, you are there to serve them, and that can lead to success.
Yeah, love it. You summarized it really well. And I quote the word that was also on the things I want to talk about: building and maintaining and leveraging relationships. Like
Yeah.
in relationships, we talk about these three stages. We build them, maintain them, and leverage them as we go through life. And it's one of the core pillars in building resilience as well. So you kind of took us through that
Yeah.
bridge, to how we can uh, become more resilient. And you said
Mhm.
something about the marathon, and that was in itself a whole topic that I want to dig deeper. So, did you write the book before the marathon or after the marathon?
After after the
Ah,
marathon.
yeah.
The quickest story about the marathon is, and this is also what had led me to start my venture into the public speaking space with keynote concerts. In 12 years into my performance career, and this was when my career was at I was more successful than my calendar was full, and
Mhm.
it was, having to keep turning away booking opportunities because and then I started experiencing weird symptoms, like
Mhm.
neurological symptoms. I was losing vision in my left eye. I had this condition where every time I tilted my neck down, this
Mhm.
intense electric jolt kind of sensation would go through my body, the left side of my body, and my what's my fretting hand on the guitar, my left
Yeah.
hand. It would have like intense pins and needles feeling, and I didn't have much motor control of it, so I couldn't play guitar effectively with it.
Yeah. It's scary.
Anyways,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. And then it turned out that I had multiple sclerosis and I have 24 lesions on my brain, and then 6 on my cervical spine. And in multiple sclerosis, those lesions are what uh, start to prohibit the communication between the brain and the body. So it can result in any number of unpredictable symptoms since it's your nervous system. And and one of those weird things for me, like just one of them, like I shared, was tilting my neck down, and I
Yeah.
start losing control of the left side of my body. That's due to the damage that the lesions on my cervical spine have already caused, like the scarring they've already caused. And that's when I relearned how to play guitar without looking at my hand. I'm jumping between a lot of things right now. I'm so sorry, but
I know.
I'll
You're.
bring it all back to the marathon.
We'll
Um,
circle back, yeah, to the key
for sure,
points. But yeah,
for
but
sure.
that's how you
Um,
discovered that there is a serious condition that you had to deal
right.
with, and that's kind
Yeah.
of where we're connecting your life experience to
Mhm.
resilience, which life throw at us multiple things we don't know. Like we go
Gosh.
through life,
Yeah.
living day by day. We don't know what the future brings, but that's what put many people in anxiety. The fear of the future.
Yeah. And that fear of the future, Laura, just, I think uncertainty is the most stressful thing in the world.
Mm.
The most stressful thing for me, circling back to the MS, is the month and a half or like basically the few months in between experiencing the symptoms, and and then you get the MRIs, and then it could take a while to get
Yeah,
a scheduled time in with a good specialist,
yeah,
like a good neurologist. Those few months were by far the most stressful part of the experience up to this
yeah.
point because of the uncertainty.
Yes,
Because
yes.
at least once you have an answer,
Mhm.
once you have something that you could, and okay, here's the things you've been experiencing that are
Yeah,
freaking you out, but here's what this is. And
yeah,
so now here are these ways in which we've been able to address these symptoms with a good amount of efficacy. Just getting some answers, and then you
yeah.
can make a plan,
Right,
and you can
exactly.
incorporate that into your routine. But yeah, the uncertainty, Laura, can be
Yes,
paralyzing, can't it?
right. And that's what many people experience, whatever the reason is. Like sometimes it's physical ailment, sometimes it's work conditions,
Yeah,
family situation. This uncertainty and the fear of the future is hard. And the first step is finding what is the problem, defining the problem, getting the right diagnosis, because then you can think of, okay, what are some of the solutions? What are the options? So
yeah.
that's really what happened for you, like finding the right neurologist, finding the right diagnosis, and then
Hmm.
finding the right treatment, which obviously is working well for you now. I heard you
Yeah.
play and you play beautifully,
Oh, thank you, my friend.
right? Right, yeah, and you share your plays, on LinkedIn. Where else you share
Hmm.
the music you play?
So lately, I've
YouTube.
I've definitely been the most active on LinkedIn lately, but YouTube, and just Jim Perona on YouTube. If there's
Yeah,
multiple Jim Peronas on YouTube, then I'm the one playing the guitar.
that
um,
is cool.
and then my website is really my hub for everything. It's just
Okay.
jimperona.com.
.com. That's
Yeah.
and that's where people also can book engagements if they
Yep.
want to reach you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's wonderful. Okay,
Uh,
so on to a how we met, how I got to know you, and I see you're
yeah.
wearing the T-shirt saying "Rising Star."
You got to represent a great man.
So you want to tell us a little bit? I know we met in Chicago, in one of the
Hmm.
Chicago suburbs, where we had an event, local event, face to face. I usually do most of my work on Zoom, but
Yeah.
that was an opportunity to meet face to face, and it was a great turnout of people
Yeah.
who came to
That was a
support.
great evening. That was a great
Yeah,
evening.
yeah. It was
Absolutely.
really interesting. I had never been to that pub before, Irish
Hmm.
pub, right? It was an Irish pub,
That's right.
and the people that came out, most of them were people you knew, your friends who came to see you and support you was amazing. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about the Rising Star and how did this event happen?
Yeah. So the event you're speaking of is Rising Stars Chicago. It happened early last month, September 4th, I believe is the
Yeah,
date.
yeah,
4th or the 5th. So
yeah.
dad
No,
brain,
no problem. Yeah, no
um,
problem.
so and it's an event, and the Rising Stars community in general,
Mhm.
created and curated by a man named Jens Heitland.
Yeah.
That is JensHeitland, just for the viewers and
Yes, yes.
listeners.
We'll
Um,
we'll we'll put him in the comments.
Perfect,
We'll tag
perfect.
him. Yes.
Um, Jens is a remarkable human being. He's the former global head of innovation at IKEA, and now he is a international keynote speaker. And he's the head of his company, Heitland Media Group,
Mhm.
and they specialize in personal branding for CEOs,
Yeah.
and just encouraging CEOs to tell their story.
Mhm.
And at this point, I don't want to keep script, because I don't want to describe anything inaccurately or
No,
anything.
you're
But
good.
all this to say is that the Rising Star community is something that Jens started through the school
Mhm.
platform,
Yeah.
SKOOL,
Mhm.
and it's based off a philosophy that this is what Jens shared with me.
Mhm.
Jens is one Jens's former boss, the president of IKEA, told him that the most fulfilling thing, and I'm paraphrasing again, but
Yeah.
one of the most fulfilling things and greatest things you can do for yourself is to be of service to others, help others, and that make education free, make mentorship free. And that's the community, the Rising Stars community that Jens has cultivated.
That's
We
interesting.
meet once a week,
Mhm.
uh, and it's usually in our time, Central Standard
Mhm.
Time, 11
Yes.
a.m. And every other week we do 5-minute keynotes,
Yeah.
which is a great way for all of us to just kind of stay sharp in our
Mhm.
keynotes and
Yeah.
experiment with different approaches, different topics, different forms of delivery. And then we all lend some helpful critique
Yeah.
to each other and support. And you've participated in these meetings. They're really great. They're
Yeah.
really great. It's a wonderful community from people all over the world
Yeah.
with so many different interesting backgrounds. So
Yes,
many
yes, I met
fascinating
some very
stories.
interesting people. I want to
Mhm.
tag what you're saying, Jim, because that kind of moves us to more of a business concept of
Yeah.
visibility, like what Yan is doing. He's helping CEOs become visible, tell their story
Mhm.
through thought leadership and leveraging video and other ways to be known to a wider scope,
Yeah.
wider audience. And that's how we connected. We are all interested in public speaking. We all
Yeah.
attempted to do it in one. I was a member of Toastmasters for a long time until I felt like, okay, I outgrew Toastmasters. I need to do something
Gotcha.
different.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I found school, or I think it was on Facebook. Jan posted something, and I thought, that's
Hmm.
interesting. Let me explore that. And it took me about a year until I realized that, oh, they are posting a schedule on school and I can join them. And then there was the Chicago event that we were talking about earlier
Yeah.
in September, which was
Yeah.
amazing. I never thought something,
Was.
free from Facebook ad
Right?
to become a bigger mission in a way, like it's not yet a
Hmm.
business, but for us, like we're doing it as until you're
Hmm.
booked as a speaker, we are supporting each other, but also
Yeah.
it's a good word to say to our audience, whoever is gonna watch this video, that they can connect on school,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
It's called Rising Star, right? That's the name of
That's
the
right.
school. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
right. And I found it's so interesting, Laura, because I found out the same way. I think I saw a post on Facebook and I was curious, and I was so skeptical. Laura, I
Yeah.
was so skeptical because, I filled out a little questionnaire that
Mhm.
was on there, and what I was, what my why I wanted to pursue this public speaking space, what my hopes and expectations were.
Mhm.
Jens replied soon afterwards, and he offered to meet. And I said right out in front of that, and I know I shared this at Rising Stars Chicago, but I said, just so you know, like my budget is pretty strapped right now. I don't have much money to spend on additional mentorship or anything at this
Right.
point. And it says, oh no, that's okay. That's okay. You don't have to. And I think that's just some of the magic and some of the
Yeah.
great thing about working with Jens is that he's helped me so much. And my all the help he's given me and all the time and effort he's spent with me and with everybody in the community, it's not at all transactional.
Yeah.
It's just to help. It's just to
Yeah,
support. And
it
that's a
was
beautiful
amazing
thing.
that this free event in Chicago in September, he
Mhm.
didn't just come by himself from the Netherlands,
Yeah.
which is a long way to come, but he also had his
Hmm.
team. You know, he had a
Yeah.
professional videographer and a
Hmm.
couple of other people doing other things. So it
Hmm.
was really a great experience, I would say, you know,
Was.
to not just
Hmm.
meet online or on Facebook or school,
Hmm.
but to actually see that there is a true human beings behind that, and they came all the way from the Netherlands.
Across the
There
pond.
is also a lot of activity in Europe. I think there is a big schedule for 2026.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
They're
so
going to
it
be
is
doing
an
these events.
invitation here to anyone who wants to become a speaker and improve their speaking performance
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
join that, because me and you connected in that community, right?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Yeah.
And just a quick, just a really quick minute here. So more, just a quick description of that event that we keep speaking of, Rising Star
Yeah.
Chicago. So it was an in-person event in which we decided on a theme, which was human and AI,
Yes.
and it was all of us giving 5 to 10 minute kind of short form keynotes about
Yeah.
that
Yes.
topic. But the magical thing about it was that it wasn't in a it wasn't in a conference hall. It wasn't in like kind of a buttoned up environment. It was,
Yeah.
as you
Friendly. Yeah.
aforementioned,
Casual.
Chief O'Neill's Pub and Grill. It
Yes.
was a
Yes.
awesome Irish bar, so everybody
Mm.
can. The audience was taking in these keynotes. The
Yeah.
atmosphere was fantastic.
Mm.
We were all learning from each other. We were all supporting
Mm.
each other. We were all gaining new inspiration and insight
Yeah.
while sipping on a beer and eating some great food. And it was the sense of community
Mhm.
was incredible. It
Yeah.
was incredible. So
Yeah.
it was a great
Definitely.
evening.
It was a change. I have become so accustomed to working virtually since the pandemic started, that the idea of meeting people and going out for events was really eye-opening. I was lucky that time because
Mhm.
I was invited to another event, another networking event the following week with a different group. And I was like, oh, the stars are aligned here. I'm getting a message. I need to get out of the house and do
Yeah, I
things
love
in
that.
person.
Love that.
But let's go back to resiliency and how you decided to run a marathon and how you trained. I heard you were training in the middle of the night to avoid the heat, you know, of the
Right.
sun in
Yeah.
the summer. So tell us more about that and how you programmed your mind in a way, because part of being resilient is to control our thoughts and not let negativity or challenges sidetrack us. So tell us how
Yeah.
you did that.
Yeah. So it was the Bank of America 2023 Chicago Marathon. And when I set out to start training, my distance runs, since the marathon was taking place in October, you got to spend that summer doing the bulk of your ramping up. And one of my main symptoms, and this is one of the most common symptoms with any MS patient, is overheating.
Mm.
Like it is outside right now, feels like temperature of around like 48 degrees or
Mhm.
something. I walk out there comfortably in jeans and a t-shirt because it feels like 70 to me.
Ah.
So it's pretty wild. But so in that case, it can actually almost seem like a nice life hack, right? But if it's 70 degrees out,
Yeah,
it'll feel like at least 90.
yeah.
And if I'm participating in any kind of physically strenuous activity like running,
Yeah.
I
So it's
just I
impossible. Yeah.
can't. My body
Yeah.
can't take it.
Right.
I'll collapse and
No,
it
yeah.
won't be good.
It's too hot.
Um, so that's where so I almost backed out right away when I realized like, okay, I think I've bit off more than I can chew because and
Yeah.
then and then I start thinking, well, okay, I've already and here's the thing, Laura. I had already started my fundraiser. I was running for Team MS, the official
Okay.
marathon team of the National
You were
MS
committed in a way.
Society.
There was a bigger agenda, bigger
I was
mission
committed.
driving
I was
you.
committed. People were already donating to my fundraiser,
Uh,
and and at the time, I'm not gonna lie. At the time, I almost felt frustration that I took all the. I'm like I took on too much, and now and I felt frustrated for so many reasons that I felt like I felt like I was irresponsible to be soliciting donations
mm,
at this point because I'm like I didn't know what I was getting into. These are the thoughts that were going through my head.
yeah. So
And
that's the
then
negative thoughts that
those are the
when
negative
that
thoughts. Yeah.
that come to us uncontrollably, like the human brain, the human mind kind of have
Yeah.
like thousands of thoughts a day that come like waves. They roll in.
Yeah.
We don't know what's triggering them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes they could be so much louder than the
Mm,
positive thoughts that are trying to
mm,
barge in there,
yeah.
right? Um, but I decided, okay, I owe it to myself to at least try a different approach here. And so
Mhm,
I was like, I'll just get up earlier and try to beat the sunrise and run then. And even though I was more tired,
mhm.
it was so much easier because,
Um,
and that's when I realized I can do these distance runs as long as I'm beating the sunrise. Because the second
mhm.
the sun rose, it would just really start to
So
get to
that
my
was the
fatigue.
strategy that you
Yeah.
found on your own, or somebody gave you that advice? How did you make up
It
that
was just through,
connection?
yeah, it was just through it was just through
Trial,
just kind of a just kind of like a last
experimentation.
experimentation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at a last ditch attempt to, at the time, to salvage people's money and do right by the people who
Yeah.
donated. But then it grew into a much bigger purpose, a much bigger. And I have to admit also, Laura, that for the first week or two of that process, like beating the sunrise and running, even though it was like, even though I was glad to like actually have a way of running a little farther, I was getting kind of down because
Mhm.
it was feeling sorry for
Yeah.
myself. It was feeling woe is me that, oh, most other people don't have to train this way,
Mhm.
just like the why me stuff,
Mhm.
which I
Yeah.
think is totally natural. It's a very human thing, but it
Mhm.
doesn't do anything to push you forward. All it does is hold you
Doesn't help
back.
us. So that's
Yeah.
one of the strategies to kind of challenge
Yes.
ourselves. Is
Hmm.
this thought helping?
Exactly. Exactly. And clearly in that case, no, it wasn't helping. And so that was step one of this mindset shift for me,
Yeah.
Laura. Step one is realizing this thought process is not helping.
Mhm.
And then that grew into something much more powerful. That evolved into, oh my gosh, how blessed am I? How fortunate am I that even with MS and the symptoms that are coming along with it, I still have a very realistic path forward to
Mhm.
run a marathon, because that is something that so many people, for so many reasons, don't or will not have an opportunity to do. And I had
Mhm.
that opportunity. And so all my woe is me stuff started getting replaced by gratitude.
Mhm.
And that was the biggest shift
Mhm.
of it all. That was the kind of mindset set shift that I was able to take away years after
Yeah, I
and
love it.
still.
So gratitude, actually, you hit on a very important pillar in building resilience and facing life's challenges, is to look at what we have, not what we don't have. And
Exactly.
we're kind of gliding
Exactly.
now towards Thanksgiving, so it's a great topic to remind ourselves. Obviously, we don't just have gratitude at Thanksgiving, but it's kind of top of mind that a key element in switching from negativity to positivity under dire circumstances is to think of what we have versus what we don't have.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's so, again, it's sometimes it can just be way too easy to get away from that and to focus on the negative or what we don't have. And, but just that gratitude mindset is so powerful.
Mhm.
It's so powerful.
And you had to do it alone, right? There is no trainer who will get up at 3 a.m. in the morning to work with Jim,
Right.
right?
And I actually preferred it that way.
Uh-huh.
Actually, just as I love when I run, I love to just get lost in the process or in the and take in the podcast or the music or
Mhm.
because it can be a very cathartic
Mhm.
thing or activity for sure.
Right. That's fascinating. And then you kept it up. You did not, stop midway. You kept it up. You participated in the run
Mhm.
and you finished. You made it to the finish line.
Yeah, yeah. The last 6 miles were a complete nightmare for me. That's when I felt everything starting to kind of break down, and that's when that's when all of my I felt like at the time I felt like I have exhausted
Mhm.
all like it felt impossible to retrieve all the positive affirmations and mindset just because I was physically going through stuff that I had never gone through
Mhm.
before. And I felt like I was running myself, I felt like I was literally running myself into a multiple sclerosis relapse that would cause long-term physical challenges going forward. And
Mhm.
so at mile 20, as I was experiencing these physical hardships, I called my wife
Mhm.
and I stopped running. I called my wife. I said, babe, I can't do this anymore. I can't. And my wife, who's just the most incredible,
Mhm.
again, gratitude. I'm the luckiest man in the world.
Mhm.
Um, she said, okay, how far do you have to go? So I still have 6 miles. She said, 6 miles? You've already gone 20. You already have a little bit left to go. And then she said the greatest thing to me. She said, it doesn't matter how you do it. It doesn't matter that you won't make the 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 finish time you were desiring going into it, you were aiming for. Even if you have to limp the rest of the way, just keep going.
Mhm.
Just keep going.
Keep
And
going.
that taught me so much about resilience right there, which is redefine success.
Right. I love
Because
that.
going into that marathon, it was my two goals was or my main goal was that not only finish, but to finish in under 4 hours.
Uh,
And I got so married to that goal and
mhm.
obsessed with that goal. And but by redefining success, okay, success now, it's not finishing under 4 hours, it's just crossing that finish line. It doesn't matter how I get there.
Right.
And how I got there was just kind of limped to drag myself the rest of the way. Um,
But
but
you
yeah,
made it.
redefining success.
You
Yeah.
made it.
Yeah.
That
Mhm.
actually reminds me with a model that a very famous psychologist came up with. His name is Martin Seligman, a great researcher in psychology, and he came up with a model. He calls it PERMA, a model for well-being and positive mindset. And it starts with positivity, the P for
Mhm.
positivity and positive mindset. The E is in the engagement, being engaged and in flow in
Mhm.
what you do. The R is for relationships, which we touched at the beginning, surrounding yourself with positive people. Your wife here was kind of a sound of wisdom and encouragement to keep you
Mhm.
going. And
Mhm.
then M is for meaning, to have a meaning attached to what we do. And obviously, you had a big meaning. You were not just running for the fun of it, you were committed to, to a society and people who donated for you. And the last one is achievement, achieving your goal, finishing what we started.
Mhm.
And I think that's kind of what you did by pushing through the last 6 miles and making it to the finish line. You achieved your goal, so it goes on your success inventory. you you
Oh,
can
I
now,
love that success inventory.
right?
It's awesome. I love that.
that's that's amazing. I'm so happy to hear that story. Tell us, Jim, like you've experienced all this thing. I have never run a marathon. I don't think I can do that. But beyond that, what's your vision for the future? Like what do you want to do in 2026 and beyond?
I want to keep I want to keep this. this pursuit of giving keynote concerts. And the keynote concert approach is it's really storytelling with live music.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell three stories. So let's say in a 1 hour program, I tell three stories about very impactful moments in my life and the much bigger messages or takeaways I experienced because of them. And as you can imagine, the marathon is a part of that, and everything I learned, like redefining success and not being able to control your conditions, but you can control how you respond to them. There's a lot, but so it's three stories about impactful moments in my life, the takeaways that I have from them, and that most importantly, I feel can be of great value to others that we can all kind of universally take away. At the end of each story, I do a musical performance on my guitar that is in context with that story and kind of just wraps it all up. And then so story, performance, story, performance, story, performance. And also in that third story, I talk about I lay out the exact takeaways that have kind of summarize all of them. And what I also try to do, Laura, is at the end, when I go into the third story, the third and final story of the keynote concert, I say, by the way, you may or may not have noticed, but I don't look down at my guitar while I play, and here's why. And I talk about that. And I do that. It's not like some kind of party trick, like not, it's just how I have to play now. And I feel like it is incumbent upon me to walk the walk, like in talking about the lessons I've learned about overcoming the curveballs that life has thrown my way. It's important for me to basically walk the walk on stage and be like, I had to relearn how to play the guitar, and that's what I've been doing here for you so far. And so and so going back to your question, my goals for 2026 and beyond, I'm so driven to keep on this mission. I want to give as many keynote concerts as I can, because the MS diagnosis, where I think when you have one of those, we've all had those days in our lives that marks a before and an after.
Yes. Yes.
And for me, the diagnosis was definitely one of them. And ever since, I've just felt a calling to make an even deeper impact with music. And doing keynote concerts is what that looks like for me right now.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I obviously listen to some of the things you post online, and I listened to what you played that day in Chicago at Chief O'Neill. So I know you're doing an amazing job, and I love your music. And in writing, Jim, how can you remind us again? How can people find you, whether to book you for music or for speaking engagement, or both? Which is the keynote concert that you coined, that it's yours. How can people find you and book time with you?
Absolutely. JimPerona.com.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Anything you need there.
Okay. Thank you, Jim. I really loved that discussion about resilience and reinventing yourself, relearning, and it's a lifelong journey.
You said it, my friend. You said it. And thank you so much for having me. I mean, I feel like we can talk for hours and hours
We
about this,
can,
but
definitely.
I appreciate you so much, my friend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right, take care.